Hey, what's going on, everyone? I hope you all are doing absolutely fantastic. This right here is my 20-gallon long Endler's Live Bear Green Neon Tetra ecosystem tank with pygmy quarries and shrimp, of course. And it is now 270 days old, which is crazy. We built this in December of 2023. It is now September of 2024. We're coming up on a year almost with this tank, and yeah, it's looking better than ever. So we're gonna get cracking. I have a lot of fun things planned for this tank this time around. There's some plants that I want to add and some minor tweaks here and there that I want to make. So sit back and relax and let's get after it. So if you remember in the last video of this series, the 240-day update, I took out all of the frog bit from this tank, and I asked my girlfriend Katie what we should put in place of the frog bit, and she suggested the biggest water lettuce we could find.
The biggest water lettuce.
The biggest water lettuce? 30 days later, this is what it looks like. Alright, you already know the drill. We're going to take all the water lettuce off the top so we have a clean slate and so we can see what exactly we're working with. While we have this nice little clean opening, let's go ahead and feed the fish some dried tube effects worms. I'm just going to stick it onto the glass real quick and let them have at it for a couple seconds. Alright, so we went ahead and we cleared out all the water lettuce that was on the top here. We filled up 2 entire containers here. This right here is like the OG water lettuce that we put in there. As you can see, it's pretty massive. And yeah, that is just a result from it being in the direct sunlight at the fish shop with goldfish and koi. So yeah, it was getting all the nutrients that it could get. I mean, that's quite impressive. Look at that. And then we have a second bucket here, of course. And you might have seen me pull out this earlier. This is Anubias bateri. And then we also have some, where'd it go? Anubias minima, I believe that's what it's called. But yeah, it's a really beautiful plant, these two. And then we also have some Anubias non-petite in here as well. And basically all of that Anubias that's in here, that was from the gourami tank that was here at one point. And yeah, I'm just keeping them hydrated in this bucket, and we will be putting them in here. I thought it'd be a cool idea to incorporate some bigger Anubias leaves to kind of contrast with the smaller non-petite plants that we have in here. So I think it would go over well. So now that we have all of the floating plants out of here, let's go ahead and do our routine algae touch-up. I know we do this every single time, so I'm going to keep it short, don't worry. And while we're at it, we're going to kind of walk around the tank and just, I'll show you everything that's been going on. And yeah, there's been some pretty cool stuff happening in here. So yeah, let me show you. All right, this is the first of many wipe downs. So many of you have been asking about the light that I use for this tank. This is the Fluval Plant 3.0 light. My apologies for never addressing that in a video directly, but yeah, I've been responding to lots of comments. This is the Fluval Plant 3.0 light. It's solid. I really like it. This is like the second largest one, or the second smallest one you can get. I think this is 36 inches to 40 inches or something like that. And yeah, it's really solid. It's on a timer and works great. So here we have it. Here's a look at the aquarium just immediately after taking out all of the floating plants. It's looking really vibrant, very beautiful, lots of color going on. And you can see the water level here is quite low. And that was kind of like a result of taking out all the floating plants, which was kind of crazy. Yeah, it just goes to show how much space floating plants actually takes up when they're in full density, you know? The fish right now are freaking out just like they always do when I remove all the floating plants at once. But rest assured, they'll be in good coverage at the end of this video, don't worry. All right, here we go, everyone. Second wipe down. This red tiger lotus in here has grown quite a bit since the last video. We're just gonna go ahead and trim this real quick. And yeah, it's always really hard trimming red tiger lotus. And the main reason why I'm doing this is because I wanna keep it small and low. Because as much as it looks cool when the leaves are bigger, when you let it grow too tall, it will stop growing at the bottom. So that's why I'm trimming it, is because I want to keep it on the smaller side in the front. Real quick before we move on, check out the tiger lotus that we have in the back. Wow, that is huge. Here's my hand for scale. Not that that means anything because I'm like a 3-foot tall Taiwanese dude, but I mean, hey, these are some big leaves. Take my word for it. Here's a top view of the tiger lotus here. I mean, yeah, they look like full-on lily pads, and they're truly stunning. I love like when you let them get big enough, they kind of start to turn a little green. Yeah, look how cool that looks. I would love to do a tiger lotus only scape at some point. Just put some tiger lotus in there and just see what happens when you don't disturb it. All right, third wipe down, let's get it. Also, check out this pennywort right here. That's made its way to the top, that's cool. Let's go ahead and trim up the Sagittaria here as well. I'm I'm going one by one with these little shears because I have no idea where my little scissor things went, like the long curved ones. But I kind of like doing one by one with shears because you get a more natural result. You don't get like a squared off look. Wipe down number 4, or whatever. Here's what the tank looks like now with everything trimmed back a little bit, and yeah, it's looking pretty nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we are gonna incorporate all of this Anubias that I showed you earlier that was in the bowl with all the water lettuce, and I think this will look super cool in here. We have Anubias bateri, we have Anubias minima, and I think Anubias really shines when you have different varieties of it together. It just makes the tank look more wild and natural. So yeah, I think this is gonna look super nice. So let's go ahead and find a spot for these. So let's start with the Anubias bateri here. Since it is a bigger leaf, I think it'll look pretty decent on the left side of things, because this tank is more or less justified. Oh, that looks kind of cool. Before we fully commit, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off some of these leaves here. The ones that aren't doing too hot. There we go. Alright, so I found a placement that I like. I'm going to go ahead and attach some super glue to the rhizome. And then we are going to stick it back here. And yes, super glue can be used underwater. It's perfectly safe. And as for the Anubias bateri, I thought it would be cool to attach it to this midsection here on the driftwood. Because like I said earlier, this is a very left justified tank, and the flow kind of goes from the left to the right, so I want the Anubias leaves to kind of get big to small, if that makes sense. And lastly, we have one more piece of Anubias minima. I'm just going to put it in this little tiny crack here in the driftwood. Just kind of go for that natural look, because Anubias in the wild does indeed latch on to little crevices. That's kind of where it sends its roots, so just gonna hold it on for a little bit. And of course, let's not forget about wipe down number 9,000. Alright, so it's been about 2 days since we put the Anubias on the driftwood, and I'm really liking the way it's looking. And yeah, we have to have the beanie back out because it's not the time of year where it's freezing cold in the morning and scorching hot when I leave work for whatever reason. So you might have noticed that we do have some botanicals in here. This video right here is sponsored by Betta Botanicals, your #1 stop shop to get all your botanical needs to level up your aquarium and take your ecosystem to the next level. Not only is it aesthetically pleasing, but the tannins in botanicals provide antifungal properties and help with water chemistry, so it's a win-win for everyone. So feel free to click on the link in the description below and have a look around for yourself, and if you decide to buy anything, use code WorldofWhasian15 at checkout and you will get 15% off your next ecosystem build. Now back to the video. So what you're seeing right now is the Taiwan moss that I glued onto this terracotta pot a couple episodes back when I put this pot in this aquarium initially. It's super glued, and since then it has grown quite a bit actually, and I kind of want to cut it and start propagating it around the tank. So this should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to cut it, make sure there's no shrimp on there. And yeah, I'm going to try to cut it in big pieces as possible, or as big as pieces as possible, so it doesn't start floating around everywhere. So there should be a nice chunk right here. I think we can get one more batch off of there. There we go. And it looks like we accidentally detached this plant here. Oops. Alright, so right here we have a really nice and healthy cutting of Taiwan moss. And yeah, I'm just going to put it on other parts of the driftwood and really get this moss going throughout the entire tank. I think it'll look really cool. So the first spot that really stood out to me was just like this blank patch of wood here. There's not really anything going on here. I think it'll look really cool. Let's just remove some of the hair algae first. And then another spot that really stood out to me was this particular spot right here. I think this will look super cool, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. And the idea is I hope that, you know, at some point this entire branch will just kind of be covered in moss, Taiwan moss. And I think it'll look awesome. So I know that the glue work in here is not perfect. It's white and you can kind of see it right now and it looks kind of bad, let's be real. But I'm not really too worried about it because the moss eventually will kind of grow over the glue and you won't see it. So if you're really worried about it, another way you can go about it is just fishing line. That works really well. But I find that's just really hard to do in a tank that's already flooded and whatnot. I guess you could drain the water and then get in there, but super glue it is for me, and eventually you won't be able to see it. So we're kind of towards the end of the video. I don't really have anything else too crazy planned, but I'm just going to go ahead and put some of the water lettuce back in here. I did toss a lot of them because we got to be able to have surface agitation still. But the Endlers and the Tetras in here really do like that coverage, so go ahead and put some back in here. So I've really been enjoying the water lettuce this time around. I actually like it more than the frog bit, if I'm going to be honest. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. Always open to comments and criticism. And furthermore, if you want to see me try anything, definitely let me know that as well. Yeah, because obviously, you know, every video, we like to do something a little different. Even if it's subtle, it still brings us joy, right? So, yeah, this is looking pretty cool. Didn't catch this earlier, but this piece of water lettuce here has a little tiny flower on it. Well, folks, we're at the end of the video, and I hope you all enjoyed this tank. I know I enjoyed it. This really doesn't get old. I hope it doesn't get old. Are you all still enjoying this tank? Or do you want me to throw it out the window? If this gets 1 million likes, I'll throw this tank out the window. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. And before I sign off, let's do one last wipe down. Peace.